Hey, 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 hey!
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, or good morning, depending on where in the world you are watching the show. First of all, I'd like to say cheers.
Cheers, people. I am going to see how many hays I can get in each week as we progress over this year to see if I can put Keith off with all my hays.
He's got more hairs than a horse. But anyway, we need to get moved on because...
I started drinking it before the show.
There you go. I've still got half mine left.
Okay, great.
No.
Yes! We're here.
We're here. We hope you've had a fantastic 2 weeks. We hope you enjoyed the 3 videos from last week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from last week.
We're in 3s right now.
We are in 3s because we had 3s from last week.
That's right.
And we're now in a series of 3 Q Corner Showtime
Part
Lives.
1, Part 2, Part 3.
And this one is Part 1, which is Corporate Balloon Clients and Classic Decor.
That's right. We thought you'd like to follow us along a little bit of a journey.
Yeah, the journey, or the customer's journey, or
Yes.
no, not the customer's journey, our journey
Yeah.
as balloon people.
We are all faced with, on a regular basis, customers saying, I want something, and all the explanations you can do, and sometimes even with photos you've got, you still can't convey what it is you're trying to sell them.
Absolutely. Or the other problem that you have, especially when you're working in the early days, they might not know what's possible with balloons, so they might have you're trying to explain to them with just using words, and you're using all the sexy words, fantastic, but the picture in their mind is different from what's your mind, what you're trying to convey. So in the early days, this is really good, and working with corporate clients, especially when you have briefs, this is actually a really good step to follow. So we thought we would share it with you guys how we go about it.
Also, as well, we do find working with some of our corporate contacts, if you like, there's sometimes layers to work through. So, we're talking with someone who's initially contacted us, we're working through the booking, suggesting some ideas, but they need to take that and present it to make sure that they can say, yes, Mr. Boss, this is what we're going to do, this is what it's going to look like, and this is how much it's going to cost. Are we all right with that? And that needs to be presented in a professional manner.
Absolutely.
And ideally in their surroundings. So it's not somebody else's photo, it's customized.
Exactly.
To them.
It's taking a photo in their venue, which makes it a lot better for them to visualize exactly what's going to happen.
Also, we're not there. You're not there for that conversation, so you need that image and that little bit of a proposal to do as much selling for you as it possibly can, because you're not there to back it up.
And also to represent your work in a good way, so that when you actually do deliver, it looks very similar to what you actually...
That's right, set the expectations.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we are going to follow the journey of one of our corporate clients, in the fact that we went on site to take the photo, we talked to the client, found out exactly what they wanted for a particular job, and we took a photo and some measurements. So what we'll do is we shall pop that up on here, and this is the area that our client wanted decorating. It was a reopening event, and what they wanted to do was they wanted to create something for the just in front of the stage area. They didn't want it on the stage. They wanted just in front of the stage so that people could use it as a photo opportunity, where they may have older, because it's a bingo hall, older or less able people for handling the stairs to go up and down onto the stage. They want to be as inclusive as possible, so they're putting it on the floor just in front of the stage area.
That's right. And the thing is as well, when you take these photos, do try to take them as square on as possible. You'll thank yourself later when you're trying to do some of these mock-ups. By all means, take more photos than you need. There's no harm in it, but always try to make sure that you have within those photos some square on photos, and then some wider shots perhaps to show the context of where that is, because there's nothing worse than getting back to base and looking at the photo that you took of maybe as a corner or a certain area and not totally remembering how that links in with the rest of the venue or the particular location you're at as well. So more photos the merrier. You're not going to necessarily use them all for a mock-up, but some of them are just to help you build that picture, and sometimes a conversation for us with the client.
We've just got this picture on at the moment, though you can't see it. He's Dom's doing all his hand gestures. They were really good.
But sometimes these conversations with the client, if you can kind of talk about their venue and some of the elements in there, and discussing, it's next to the mirrors, next to that corner seating, and they really feel that you've got a good grasp of their particular premises, and that gives them confidence, right?
Yeah, and you can also talk about like customer flows. You know, is this in a way where a lot of people are going to be going past to get to the bar or the toilets? Is it going to block an emergency exit access? All these kind of things that you've got to bear in mind when you're doing it. But
and just in case photos as well, because sometimes we've had it where kind of it's spun on from the brief, where you've done some initial conversation, but then they've said, well, actually, you know, we might have a bit more budget, and there's another area like, you know, and they're like, oh, that's another site visit.
Yeah.
But actually, if you've took a lot of photos while you were there, you know, get back to base, take them, put them onto your computer, store them in a folder for that particular customer.
Because remember, we're always all about looking for that customer for life. Yeah,
that's right. You're building them. Yeah. This is not a one-off job. We want more. So do that little bit of extra legwork on the first initial venue visit pays off massively.
Absolutely,
it really does.
Because it does. Because I mean, for example, with these ones, when we got their first job with these guys, when we were on site, because we delivered it in a professional manner, we were reliable and very professional, and we put forward a good image. We actually got booked for another gig right there and then. So at that point, we could take extra shots of the other areas. However, what might happen is you may get the follow up. That particular job's gone really well, you've gone away, and they contact you about a future job. If you've already got all the different location photos that you've put in a folder and marked it up, you know, you're already ahead of the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, it's not always possible, time frame and logistics, to get those photos done yourself. Now, we did have, actually, funny enough, it was this particular client, they've got another premises that was, it's probably I don't know, a 4 or 5 hour trip for us to do, that they wanted us to go and do, specifically because of the good relations that we have with them on this particular site. So we got somebody there to take photographs.
So we asked them to do the same thing, stand square on from your locations, take photographs, but also take measurements.
That's right, measurements. And sometimes if they're struggling for measurements, get them to take the photograph with somebody in the image. You can use that as a benchmark for size, and it's normally good enough for what we're trying to achieve. So
if we put that up full screen again, Dom, and we'll show about what we're talking about with the measurements on this one. And Mr. Q, if you can help me out, just point out a few things. So on the front of this stage, hello Mr. Q, we have these panels, and you can see there are 1,
we haven't got Mr. Q over here
3, 4, 5, 6.
We haven't got Mr. Q yet. 1 second. I think he's going slow over here. You've got him, but we haven't got him. Only you can see what he's doing.
Oh, that's a shame. Mr. Q, that was really handy.
It was.
Yeah.
Let's see if... There he is.
There
he's going to move on time for us. Come on, Mr. Q.
It's paused in front of the thing. There. Oh.
He's there.
But
he's not happy.
There.
Has he got stage fright?
It's just a stage he's going through.
Well, what's the point?
Oh dear.
All the jokes down today, people.
That's right. Okay, so 1, 2. You tell me if it's working all right.
We're good for the moment.
3.
Yes. So we're counting the panels across the stage.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So half of that is 4.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this fifth one is the middle panel. So this is going to be the middle of our stage, which you can see there's a handy pointer as well, and the fact that there's a projector just above, which tells you that's going to be the middle anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an arch for this area, and it's going to stand about from here to here. And what we did was we measured it. Now the point between here, this line here, and this line here was roughly 4 meters, and our standard arch stands roughly about 3 meters tall as well. So we're going to have an arch about 4 meters wide by about 3 meters tall.
That's right.
And that's going to be the main focal point of the decor.
Even though we're down on site, we're having this conversation, sort of setting the seed, if you like, for the idea. We still make sure we take the measurements of what's around us, because there's no point in then coming away then having to come back and remeasure. Having visual references like those panels, which are clearly the same size across, knowing what the width of one of them is brilliant.
Yes.
Because then you can use that to then use in the photograph to go, well, actually, if that is X width, we can now kind of transfer the measurement
Things like
across.
doors and things like that are a good idea of height, because although people can vary dramatically in height, doorways tend to be around about the same sort of height. So there's all sorts of little tips and tricks of what gives you an idea of scale.
But that square on photo photo is really going to help you with that when you're trying to transfer those sizes and measurements into it.
So we have our first two measurements.
We do. We've got our area, we've got our measurements, and so that tells us how wide the arch is going to be.
Yeah, 4 metres wide by about 3 metres tall.
Great.
Because 3 metres tall is plenty of height for people to stand underneath it, but you don't really want them congregating right underneath an arch if you're doing it for a photo opportunity, because that creates a shadow. So you want them just in front of the arch. So you don't want it massive that they're going to automatically go underneath.
People tend to hide under it or behind it, which then they're always really dark in it. Also, this particular customer has sight lines they need to be wary of. They've got boards all around the premises.
Yeah, I mean, can they say on here? Yeah, here, look. So here. This is all information because this is a bingo hall.
And this is national results that the back of the hall need to see. This hall itself actually holds, up to about 1,000 people, I think.
You kind of get the idea from, you can see a little bit from what's in the mirrors here.
You can see behind. So, listening to your customer is really important. What's on their top list of priorities? Is it this visual element, or do they still need to maintain certain aspects of the venue as well? Because we can't just dismiss those, So
it's got to work in all things. Otherwise, if there's a problem, right, and you can try and foresee as many problems as possible, if there's a problem, they're less likely to come back to you again, or less likely to choose balloons in the first place. So the more positives that we can instill, the easier for the journey.
And quite often, that conversation is, it's no, it's okay, you can cover that board over this week because it doesn't matter, we're not doing that competition. Or actually, no, that's a massive thing that has to be shown. So that is really helpful to make sure we know the understanding of this. But now we've got the size of the kind of the height and the width. That's great. But what we don't know is how long the arch itself is. If you were to lay that arch out, how long is it? Because that tells us how many balloons we're going to need to order, or visually show the customer as well, to give them an idea.
So we're going to use a tool that we've used for many years. That if you've been lucky enough, if you're in an area that has the Qualitex Fundamentals course and you've been on it, that booklet contains this information.
One of the many gems that's in there.
Yeah. If not, what we're going to do is going to share an area that you can get that information directly from.
Yeah.
So if I can go on to here.
So essentially it's a formula. It's a little bit of math, and it does look a little bit scary to start with because it looks like there's a lot of numbers going on.
Just to say as well, the link for this particular website is in the description, so to make it easier for you, because once you get on this site, it's Conman, by the way. It's Conman Online. It's another good.
It's a great resource of information,
but it's hard to find this particular page.
It's actually easy to find it via a Google search to get onto their page. So we've shared the link, so it's easy to do. There are other resources with this information in, and it is essentially the same information. It's just Conman's done a very good job of having it explained and visualised.
Yeah, and site. Putting all the information in one particular spot.
It is. It's lovely. So we've got 3 different formulas that you can choose from, and these are dictated by the shape, the size of your arch that you've got. You've got basically 3 options, and you need to have a look at your arch and decide whether it fits one of those criteria. If you can't decide, if it's so close to one or the other, don't worry about it, just pick one of them.
Pick the closest one that you like. So the first example is if the height and the width, if the height is less than the width dramatically. The next one is if the height and the width, they're about the same size, if they're equal. And then the next one is if the height is taller than the width.
The pictures do a great job of helping you decide.
Yeah.
So ours was how wide?
Ours was 4x3. So in this case,
we're wider than we are tall.
Yes.
So we can go with example 1.
Yeah, example 1, because we're 4 meters wide by 3 meters tall. So it is the height plus the width, which gives us 4 plus 3 in my book is 7.
Great. So that's all we need to do. So you're just picking the shape first. Yeah. So does it match example 1, 2, or 3? Which one does it do? Ours is example 1, so we followed the formula for example 1. So we take the width plus the height, and then that should give us the approximate length of the whole of the arch.
Yeah.
So 4 plus 3.
So we want this one. Mr. Q says we're using this one.
Well done, Mr. Q. The point coming out your ear there.
There we go.
There we go. We're going to see it full screen. There we go. We're on example 1. Look.
Right, okay.
So then we're saying 7 metres long.
7 metres long.
Now that's great, but it didn't tell me how many balloons though, Keith.
No, but this next part here, which is the garland chart, and it says that the balloon the quantity, it says quality, but it's the quantity, may vary as much as 20% depending on how tightly the balloon clusters are packed.
That's right.
So these
it depends on the person doing it, and this is where a little bit of experience comes in.
Yeah.
And if you've not done this very much at all, overestimate. If you overestimate, you'll have more product than you need, and assumingly you're going to charge accordingly for the product that you've got.
Yeah.
So you'll be safe. Okay?
So now this is an American website, so it's all done in Imperial. So we're doing a 5 balloon cluster because the client's colours are 5 colours.
Yep, fits perfectly. It's the best way to translate it. We're also going to do a spiral with that as well,
Yes.
because their brief was, fun, rainbow, and all that kind of goodness.
It's also, we're going to reverse the spiral so that it creates a focal point pointing into the centre of that arch.
So knowing that we're going to do a 5 balloon spiral, we've picked 8 inches as our balloon size.
Yeah, 9 inches is a little bit too big, we find, for the size of the arch. Plus, we didn't really want it becoming super fat at the base because people need to go walk in front of this, and there are tables not so far away from the stage in front, and they want to be able to take photographs. So therefore,
it's a balance between get the bang for your buck with the balloon size, because obviously the bigger the go, the less balloons you need to do. But the smaller you go, you're getting better detail, and actually it's easier to finesse the balloons in there.
And they're also more robust. Converting
Absolutely.
an 11-inch balloon to 8 inches, or especially the way that we do it, and the fact that we oversize, downsize, makes it a lot more robust.
So for us, our standard go-to size is 8 inches
with a 5 balloon
for
cluster.
a 5 balloon cluster for an arch like this.
So 8 inches, it tells us that on a 5 balloon cluster, let's see if I can point this out again. Can you go full screen? So
you're just looking down the chart and then picking the right column. Okay. So Keith's looking now for the size of the balloon. So that's 8 inches. Then you're going to go along to the end column, not the middle column.
Yeah.
Because the middle column is for a 4 balloon cluster.
That's right. We're going to use this one.
The right-hand column is
5
balloon cluster. So
it's 9.5 balloons per foot. Now the problem with that is we've already said that we've got a 7-meter arch, and so we've got a 7-meter arch, and we need it in
and we've
the
got
feet.
this in feet. Now, don't get us wrong, you're not going to use 9.5 balloons, but just gives you an approximate amount of balloons you're going to use per foot. So we need to take our 7 meters and convert it into feet.
Yeah, let's see if we'll do it by Siri.
Live with Siri.
Yeah. Hey Siri, what is 7 meters in feet?
7 meters is 22.97 feet.
There you
Excellent.
go. 22.97 feet.
I thought you were going to ask Siri what's the best channel on YouTube.
It's obviously Q Corner.
22.97.
So we'll say 23 feet. Okay, we'll just round up just a little bit.
Approximations, if you need to round it for easy math, round up.
So for this, we know it's 9.5 balloons per feet. So, hey Siri, what is 23 times 9.5?
23 times 9.5 is 218.5.
218.5.
We must say as well, in the spirit of fairness, there are other voice assistants out there.
They are. They're just not as good. Right, so 218.
So 218 balloons is what we're going to need. That's great.
Or 218.5, so 219 because we always round up.
That's right. So say 219 balloons for the whole balloon arch, but that's one colour.
No, it's 5 colours.
So we need to divide that into
5.
5. So now we need to take the 219, divide it by the 5, and that'll tell us 2 things. One, how many we need of each colour, and also how many layers that's going to have.
Yeah, so 219 divided by 5 gives
44.
us... No, it's 43.8. Close. It's 43.8, as it says on there. I know. Rounded up, so that's 44. So it means we're going to have 40. We're going to have 44, roughly 44 layers across on there.
So because we've got 5 balloons in there, there's 44 of each of the colours going up. So we know we need to have, of each of the colours, 44 balloons. Yeah. Obviously, when we're ordering balloons and taking them onto site, we need more than that.
I'm going to write that down, so it's 44 layers we need. Okay. So
you need a percentage.
We're going to need that in a moment.
Percentage of wastage and a percentage of the specification has changed. We've made it a bit bigger than we should have done. We've done something differently. And what you don't want is to get on site and then have a problem. It doesn't mean necessarily, let's say we had to make it a bit bigger, that we would charge the customer anymore. We're just fixing that issue and learning from it. We might have used, I don't know, we designed 44, but we'd end up with 46 or 48. That's when you do your job cost form and you go to your actual column and fix those little errors that we have. But we've got a great video for that one.
Do we?
Yeah, totally do.
What's that?
How much would I charge for that?
How much would I charge for that? Because we know you guys are in the chat there. Hi, everybody in the chat again. Great emojis, by the way. We know that you guys will going to ask the question about pricing and things like that. So,
because this directly relates to that process.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is get onto it's the links already in the description. So, how much would I charge for that? Get yourself over to there, and I think it's about 50 minutes long, but it tells you all about it and how discounting really affects your bottom line. And there's loads of things. There's really
and there's cake.
And there's cake. Yeah. Absolutely. And
so,
there's cake that I get, which I like.
Yeah. So 44 layers long.
Yeah.
That's great, but we need to visualize this now, and we've got that information. So how are we going to do that, Keith?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to now design the arch. Now, there are lots of different tools available out there. You can do it through, we know people do it through PowerPoint, all sorts of different things. However, we use Chris Adamo's Balloon Pro tool.
Yes.
Balloonpro.co is the website. And what we're going to do is we're going to take you through that, and we're going to show you exactly how it works.
Yeah, because we use this one, and we use this one in our business, and it is you can get a free trial of it. So I think it's a 7-day free trial, and you can pay monthly for it, and you can get it on a yearly subscription as well. And I think there's the stripped down, so the cheapest you can get it for just the tools is $99 per year. Now I have to say, for what it gives you, it's worth every
obviously
penny.
that pricing is of this moment, so.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is...
So if you're watching in the future...
Yeah, we need to go full screen for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go get ourselves over to balloonco.co.
Here it is.
So here we go on balloonco.co.
It's got lots of different options on here as well.
Yeah.
It's not just for arches. You've got quick link walls. You've got everything.
But I've just picked the 5 balloon arch, and I'm going to pick colour for the moment. And I've picked Wildberry because it's going to be one of our colours.
Preloaded with all the Qualitex colours. Fantastic.
And I've select block paint on there. And I'm also changing it to 8 inches on there. So it's 8 inches. And then what I'm going to do is the block paint allows me, first of all, I'm going to count up, and every 10 I'm going to put a dot. So we know it's 44 layers.
This starts off with a kind of a starting arch, if you like. Yeah. So this is going to give us a set size, but what we're going to do is get it visualized
10
to the size that we want.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There is a tool that you can use to tidy up on this, but if it's not coloured in, it'll take away things that you might actually want.
4.
So now we've got
44
layers.
And then using that block tool.
Yep, so this is just an easy... We know it's going to be different colours, but by colouring this all now one colour, when we tidy it up, it's going to only leave the arch that we're going to be working with.
Come on. Right.
Lovely.
Oh, I've just missed that edge. 1 second.
Oh, Keith, you've missed the edge.
It's all right. This is great. It's super fast.
There, lovely. So you can see there how much arch extra there is in the default one that we didn't need for our design.
So I just clicked on tidy up there. And then what that does is it changes the arch to our 44 layers.
Perfect. So now that's the right size arch with the right amount of balloons in. So now when we show the customer this, it's correct.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people show, I've just borrowed this picture of an image of an arch and overlaid it onto the client's image, but the arch is, it's not the same arch that they've done.
So we've gone on to add our second colour. So we've gone with Robin's Egg Blue. And then first of all I'm going to do is going to start on a small section and just keep adding colours in the order that we want it to happen. So Robin's Egg followed by...
lime green.
Yeah, lime green. And then...
Is it orange?
It's...
I can't remember.
It's...
Purple violet.
Purple.
There it is.
There is just that one.
It's a great point and click tool though, isn't it?
It's absolutely fantastic. Orange is on the other side of here it is. So we're going up. Now we're going to start working up from there.
There we go. It's amazing how quickly it can give the kind of representation of what you're trying to achieve. And you can play around with it. You know, if you've got colours from your client...
I think that one's orange.
And you don't really know how are you going to translate that into an arch?
Yeah.
You know, this
Little
worked for
violets.
us. Like, it fell on our lap. It's 5 colours and a 5 balloon spiral is perfect. But what was if they've got 6 colours? What was if they've got 7 colours? You know, some corporate colour schemes have got a lot going on. And, you know, like it or not, they want to include that in their design. So there's different ways of doing it. But at least this way, you can visually represent it and be very clear with your customer how you're going to translate that into this design.
As you can see, I'm just cycling through each of the colours and then moving on to the next one on there. Oh, missed a colour. I'll go back to that. Orange, it's on there. There it is.
Good job he ordered enough.
And then lime green.
But the purpose of doing it all pink to start with,
Missed purple.
it could have been any colour you started with. It's just to block it out to get the size done first.
Yeah, okay. So now we're in the middle.
Colour again.
No, I didn't. That's on the spiral. That's on the reverse spiral.
Okay. It's a good
So
start.
now we reverse the spiral. So we're going back the other way, lime green, see? And now this side tends to be downhill and go a bit faster because you've already set it up on the other side. So now what you're doing is just mirroring what happens on the left, and you're just mirroring it again down here. So this side goes a bit faster because your colourway is gone. So next one's wild berry. Then we should flip over onto robin's egg blue.
Lovely job.
Thank
If
you.
only you could inflate them as fast as that.
This is dead easy, honestly. This is brilliant. It's an amazing tool, and it looks fantastic too.
It is, and the bits we're going to kind of spin off onto next really show the power of this tool and how versatile it is.
Now I can see some people screaming already in the chat over there that this isn't 100% central because we've got 44 layers. So how can a 44 layer design have an exact center? And you're right, it doesn't. However, because we're going to be adding some extra details, nobody will see that. We could add an extra layer on. However, you're going to be pushing the balloons into that space, and we don't need to. So,
you know, again, right back at the beginning of this episode, we talked about we're not focusing on the design itself. It's just the process of taking the customer's kind of wants and needs, translating that into something that we can present to them to say, hey, look at this. This is what we're offering you. This is the price that it's going to be, and this is what it's going to look like in your surroundings.
So this is our arch. So if we're just doing the design side, getting ready for the client, this is ready to save. We can export it here. Click on the file. We can export it as a PNG because a PNG has a transparency. And there it is. It's downloaded in the bottom corner. And then what we can do is...
And what we mean by that, just in case you know it's not a file you've worked with, it means it's going to save that arch but have no background next to it.
Yeah.
So it means you can use it in many applications.
So what I've just done there is I've clicked on the exploded part, and what this does is it explodes every layer out. And what we can do is, because our numbers are not right, it should say a 44 of each colour, right? And the reason being is the colours in the back were still wild berry because that's what we told them to be. But what we can do is we can just go around and we can add in the extra colours. So all I'm doing is I'm following my colour path. So the violet purple or purple violet should always be just behind orange and just in front of lime green. So
now for this particular design, for us, you didn't necessarily need this step because the visual representation was perfect. It doesn't matter that behind it you couldn't see it, and we're not ordering based off this software this time because we know it's 44 layers and it's 44 of every colour. It's a no-brainer. It's very easy to do. But if this was a more intricate design, or you've done a bit of playing around, you've got some different things going on, perhaps you've got a different balance of colour. Perhaps the corporate scheme is more heavy towards one colour than another. You might have a twin spiral of one colour and not of the other. So that's where the ordering function on this is absolutely fantastic. Get this detail done. It's going to give you the ordering code of the product that you need and the amount of balloons that you need. So it's brilliant.
yeah, it's worthwhile. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to take a little bit extra time here and finish this off just so that our numbers kind of line up. So we take it in turn. Oh yeah, I missed that one. And back to orange. And go around. You can see that one doesn't have orange. So orange. So the orange is basically it's just behind the purple and just in front of Wildberry.
You can also see the spiral.
That last one I can see there should be there's two lime green there.
The reverse spiral, you can kind of see the background spiral as well through it with it being exploded. But as we say, when you do this for yourself, depending on the style, you can choose whether to do this step or not. It really is up to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it. It's only if it's worth it for you, because this is an extra layer of work that we might not have needed to do if it wasn't for the fact that we're showing it of how to get those the ordering of the right colours.
Yeah, absolutely. We just want to get for this particular one. We might as well take the extra little bit of time and do it because it doesn't take a lot of time.
No, and you can save it as well, so it is something you can save and come back to. So it is pretty good that it's saved correctly.
Well, also as well, like you said there, you can save this as a file. So this is going to be a 44 cluster 5 balloon arch of 5 different colours. So you can, with this piece of software, you can actually replace the colours at any point.
Yeah.
So it means that you can just bring it in, replace the lime green for whatever colour you want, and it changes the whole thing up. So
you don't actually have to go back through to click each balloon.
No.
You could then just select, let's say the green could now be, I don't know, spring green. It could be a different green. Perhaps, the colours.
It could be whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's whatever you want it to be. So that is a very powerful thing to have saved. Let's say, for instance, you do 5 balloon cluster arches regular, but you've got some different size options. You could save one as like a 44. You could save one as an 80. However big you do it as.
Just zoom out a little bit there so you can see the whole thing. There we go. All the exploded one. I'm just checking out them spiral. Make sure I haven't missed anything. Do you see anything?
I don't think so.
Follow it down.
It is a great tool, though.
It is.
Thanks, Chris.
There we go. There we go. There, it's all good. It is all good. So, I've just taken the explosion back off, so it takes it back into the arch, and we'll get it zoomed back in again, and we'll zoom into the top section so you can see a bit better. So you can see there we've got 44 of each colour, which gives us the 220 in total, the layer tightness and everything to go with it as well. Yeah.
So it's so handy that though, isn't it?
So now we need to get ourselves over onto Google Drawing.
Yeah. So historically we've used and probably exclusively used Photoshop for a lot of the things that we've done, lots of the design work, and that's because we use it and we have it and it's a great platform. However, it's not the cheapest. And there are other options out there. And for what we're trying to achieve for this, we're trying to show it in the most cost-effective way. Now, yes, Chris's tool does cost money, but value-wise, it is fantastic. But now we can take the images that we produced from that tool and bring them into a platform such as Google here and do the manipulation that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm doing on here is... I've brought in our initial photograph.
Yep, so we've got our site visit photograph here.
Yeah, so that's on there.
Also, by doing it in Google Docs as well, it gives you the opportunity. That's a great way of sharing images with your customers.
Yeah.
We have a sharing folder in a work Google Drive, if you like, and we've got it named sharing, and in there we have customer folders, and those folders can be individually shared with those clients. Yeah. What's great about that is it doesn't kind of get lost in the emails for them. We can send them a link, and that link can be shared with numerous colleagues in the organisation. It's a low file size link to send because the files are not being sent with the email, which is great for a lot of corporate emails. Yeah. Lots of corporate email is maxed to certain image sizes, so you're having to resize the images. If you want to send a big image, a little image, it doesn't matter. It sits in your Google Drive. It's fantastic. Also, if you want to change that, if you want to change the image, you can switch it out, and then they get the updated one. So we're going to put the arch in here, and remember we measured between this point over here and this point here, so we know roughly where we're going to be setting up our arch in this image. Like Dom said, we would always use Photoshop, and we still would. It's just that this is a cost-effective solution for those that don't. And it does a great job of it as well.
Yeah, and it's very easy to follow along.
Yeah,
with.
And you can take it straight from here to your Google Drive to then share with the client. So it's a really good solution.
Yeah.
And there are other softwares out there. We're not saying, if you've got something to replace it. Yeah. This is more for...
If you have an app on your phone or whatever.
Yeah. And there's nothing that's any different than anything else. So absolutely continue on with that. But we just found that if for people who haven't got anything and are looking for something to do what we're suggesting, this is a great way.
It's a great, and it's free.
It's free. Thanks.
All you need is a Google account, which you should have anyway.
Yeah.
Because you should be subscribed to YouTube. So.
Hello.
Okay. Right. Let's go full screen again, so I can get this onto here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to my Finder, and I'm going to bring in the arch. So here's our arch.
Yep. So if you're on a PC as well, you're just going to import. There's an option there in the Google document to bring in an image, and you just find that on your computer wherever you've got it saved in your My Downloads or desktop.
Like I was showing you up on the top there where it said Insert. You just do that on here, and then you can see there. This is why we said save it as a PNG, because it has all that transparency around it. And then what I can do is we can set up our arch roughly to the size where we want it. Now the thing is with the arch on this design compared to what we actually do is ours has more of a straight uprights on the sides.
Yes.
Compared to the permanent curve. This would work more like an aeropole where it automatically curves.
Yeah, it gives you that full arch all the way into the base. Because the arch that we're actually going to use starts off on a base plate and pole, then goes into an arch. Ours is slightly different shape. However, for the benefit of the customer getting a visualization of what we're trying to do, this really works. It's very close to the end result.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can ask Mr. Q to help me out.
You can do it.
You can see here, it looks like it's sitting on the table, but you can, on Photoshop, obviously, you can edit that bit out and cut it out on here. I'm not sure about the erase function on here, but I'm sure you'll probably be able to do something similar. However, you can just explain to the client that it's not going to sit on top of the table, that's going to sit behind the table. It's just there for a representation.
That's right. But by getting the layer count correct in there, though, on the tool to get the arch looking correct, when you've downscaled it, it looks right, and the end result will look a lot closer. Rather than taking a generic arch and just scaling it and sizing it, it looks incorrect because if you've got too many clusters in there, and you downsize it, it looks more like 5-inch balloons. So doing it the right amount of clusters is important, or as close as to you can get it as possible.
Yep. Absolutely.
So now we've got our arch, we've got it in position.
Well, actually, what we need to do is we're going to add something to this design. What we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves over to
Qualitex.com.
And we're actually only doing a brief stop there because we're going to click Products, North Star Balloons. I don't have the link directly to North Star Balloons.
That's why we use Qualitex.com, because a quick hop and a click.
Yeah. Straight over onto North Star Balloons, and we're going to be spelling out the word bingo on there with
That's right. I find it fascinating the amount of people who will go to Google search to search for the images of the balloons, when actually
silver.
Qualitex.com and the North Star page have everything you need to download in a fantastic high-res PNG image already.
Yes.
They want you to use them. They're not secret, they're there, and there's a download option on all of those images.
Now, we know that people have been go onto the site and they just right-click and save the image, but don't do that. On the North Star, if you go to up here, you can see where it says Downloads on here. What you can do is you can click onto there and then go to the product that you want to download. In this case, it's 34-inch silver letters, and we'll go over to there, and there they are, all ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download each of the letters that I need. Was B or B's on the next page, must be. So we need. We need the I. Yeah. And you can choose also as well, as you can see on here. You can see what sort of medium PNG, extra large PNG, or original size. Because this is a relatively small image, all we need is the medium PNG.
Now, you can actually, preempt, if you're going to do a lot of jobs with letters, by all means go through and download the whole catalogue of the ones that you need. There's no harm in that. Then you can have your own folder, go get those pictures, and you've got them to hand.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that, if you don't store them, or you haven't got the capacity to do it, by all means go to the website as and when you need them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to click on the medium PNG and I'm going to click download. Now when you do this, it'll ask you for an email address. So here we go. We're going to put in the boys at qcorner.tv. And then you also need to select over here. There we go. What you're going to use it for, and we're going to use it for presentation because it's presentation to a client. So
That's right.
and then download there, and then medium, and you don't have to put your email and address every time. It automatically thinks yes, it's the same thing. Medium there, and it's presentation the same. So you just go around and you download what you want. So
it's nice and straightforward, nice and simple, and you're getting the great, good quality images at the resolution that you need with no background.
With no background, it's a PNG.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So there we go. This is our number 5. So in my mind, bingo has 5 letters, so that must mean I have
It does
them all.
today.
And then it's on a Mac, so it's handily puts them on the bottom of there, so I can literally just take them from there and drag them straight in.
On a PC, it's just the same. You'll have them under downloads, quite often on the bottom bar as well, and you can drag them and drop them in there. Alternatively, if that doesn't happen for you, go to the insert function, insert, and find the image that you need.
Yeah.
From there, once you've brought it in, you can then resize.
Yep. I'll just bring them all in.
So in
so
the
the
come.
B and the G.
So we're not using any external art program here. We're just nice and simple. Google Doc, nothing too spectacular.
Google Drawn.
Google Drawn, sorry. But it's just a great way of
And
giving
the next one,
a good representation of what we're trying to achieve.
I've already got that one.
Oh.
Delete that one out. So I've got that. There we go. Oh.
This is again another good thing as well, is if you know a scale within that photograph, you can use that to help you measure the letters as well. So you can do a visual reference guide to say, okay, this is going to be in relation to that. We are fortunate that we know roughly how big these letters look when they're put on an arch like this, so that's what we're scaling against. However, if you've never done it before, make a piece of cluster up, to that size.
And then see what it looks like on there.
Exactly.
Also, when you send this to the client at the end of it, you're going to say that this is an artistic representation.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that because everything's handmade, it can change.
We call that our get out of jail free card from
Yeah.
Monopoly, that one. We just want to make sure we give them a good representation, set the expectations, but also have that little caveat that says that, this is a digital representation of what we're trying to achieve, but it may differ slightly. It may, it's not exactly to scale, and all those kind of bits that are essential just to, again, set those fences up to make sure that everyone knows what's going to happen.
What I'm doing on here is I'm resizing them so that compared to each other. So I was happy with my N. It's just a little bit move. Okay, don't move. Okay, now, thank you.
Now he's happy.
And then I'm just resizing everything and moving it across onto the arch. That's a bit big, so I'll downsize that so that matches the eye and move that down there. So
Bingo,
bango, indeed. So that gives us the idea of the letters, the silver letters on the 5-color arch. So it's going to give us that nice idea of the of our arch. The next thing we need to do is download it. So what I've done is I'm going to click on File and then click on, I'm going to download, and then I'm going to choose which format. Now you can choose whichever one you want, but everybody understands what JPEGs are, and there's no transparencies required in this. So a JPEG is all it needs.
Effectively, just so it doesn't get people confused, we've got PNGs in the image, and those transparencies have been maintained in the image. But if you download the whole thing as a JPEG, that's okay because it doesn't need transparency of itself.
And
so
it's
JPEG's
also going to be a
fine.
smaller file.
That's right. But it's also, as Keith said, it's a very familiar file for a customer to receive.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to JPEG, and I'm going to show you what not to do first of all. Okay, so I've downloaded it, and now there's going to be a problem with this one, and I'll show you. I'll drag this into the screen so you can see better. And you can see on there that there is, the top and the bottom have white bars, and the reason being is let's have a little look, see if I can show you on, where are you? There you go, Mr. Q. These white bars here and here. And the reason being is that on our Google drawing, we have this open area of space here and this open area of space on there.
Because that was like your workspace, right? Yeah. Before you brought the image in.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what you can do on here is you can actually write information, and you can put your information down here about your company information. You can drop your own logo on there. There's lots of things you could actually use this space for. But if you're not going to use that space...
You can set yourself a template up on here with all of that really good information on, so you can recycle it every time. You know, you've got your core information, your social media stuff, and you could even have maybe a client piece of information if it's specific to them.
Yeah.
You could even maybe have do not distribute, you know,
yeah.
not to be shared.
And you could be for event with the event details on.
Yeah, lots of useful information could go in those spaces.
Okay, but we don't really want those spaces. So what we're going to do is...
We're going to crop it?
No, I'm not going to crop it because...
so that would be my go-to.
Yeah, what I'm actually going to do is... not there. No, I'll just do it the other way. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all by dragging a huge box across everything.
So you can see all the elements that you put in.
And because I've got space to the left and right, what I can do is actually I can zoom this by expanding it and then making sure that it covers all of that hatched area.
Right, so you've expanded the image you've got and taken it and filled the work area that you have.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go back and download it again as the JPEG, and you'll see what I mean now. So now that looks like there's no mistakes involved because we've got a full image size of exactly what we wanted.
I think the moral of the story is when you download something, before you send it to your customer, check it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also once you've downloaded it, make sure you rename it. That's something that is a bit more
the job title, you know, what the event's for. Yeah, absolutely. It's not just whatever
image
the information. Untitled drawing brackets 1.jpg. Yeah, you want to have something named
not
correct.
Specific.
Yeah, absolutely.
Client picture and the name. You know, have some sort of formula that helps you find those images.
Yeah, and if you're going to use a watermark on there as well, and many people do, if you want to use the watermark on there, make sure that it doesn't look like it's part of the design and that the customer expects to have something in there, or they think, oh, you know what, I don't like that on there, because you're going to put a sign up there that says your company details, like your advertising. Just be careful with that.
There's a story which we'll share in a future video about us on a balloon dog.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've ran over.
No way.
So, so this is the end of part one. This just goes off to your customer now, and it gives you a good representation.
So we've got the brief, we've done our site visit, we've done our mock-up, we've done all those elements
we also know what balloons we need to order.
We do, yeah. So if we're going to go ahead with this, we know what we're going to do. So we're going to send this off to our client and see what it comes back with.
And then we'll add a couple of things first. But in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be on site, actually doing this installation. We're going to take you through the whole thing.
We certainly are.
Okay. But for now, before we do that, you press that.
Yeah.
And then we do just a huge thank you to
crew members,
these guys.
rock stars.
Absolutely. Yeah. We appreciate your support absolutely massively. So we appreciate everything that you do for us. And
there'll be more content to come as well. We're just getting going on it.
Yeah, absolutely. More to come.
But thank you guys.
Thank everybody. And we're going to see you guys enjoy. We've got 3 more videos next week. And then we'll be back the week after with part 2. You
can't miss that. Not now you've invested in part 1
of corporate balloon clients and classic decor.
Yes. See you on the next one.
Take care, guys.